We're joined now by some guests from the Grand Rapids Public Museum. Erin Corin, Director of Education, and Dr. Corey Redmond, Science Curator. Guys, thanks so much for being here. You have this really exciting project where the two of you are going to be headed down to Paraguay for a couple of weeks. Is that correct?
Yep, about 3 weeks.
Yep. And what is happening here? Tell everyone about this trip and what you're going to be doing down there.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on.
Thank you.
We're excited to talk about it.
Yeah,
Corey
absolutely.
actually leaves tomorrow. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going a little early. I have some lab research work to do before we all head out in the field.
Very cool. Okay, so yeah, what's the purpose here?
Yeah, we're here from the Grand Rapids Public Museum, and we're here to talk about an exciting paleontology field research project that the museum is part of. So I'll let Corey give a little brief overview of that. Like you said, I'm our Director of Education. I'm one of the members of the museum going to Paraguay soon for this research, but Corey is sort of the lead on the research side from our end.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about what the research is going to entail there.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is the Pilcomayo River megafan system. So in Paraguay, like most of the world, they have a different type of river system than what we do in North America. So instead of the tributary system where you start out with a whole bunch of small creeks, channels that come together to one bigger one, like, eventually the Mississippi to the Gulf. In Paraguay, in the Pilcomayo, it's the opposite. It actually starts off as one big channel, and then it divides into a whole bunch of smaller channels. And it comes, like, once it relieves the mountains, it becomes this big fan shape. So think of like alluvial fan, but on a much larger scale, hundreds of kilometers, very gradual. And the reason we're going down to Paraguay to study this Pilcomayo megafan river system is because we think that is a better example, a modern example of the type of rivers that created the fossil record. So fossils, when you look at the rock record, fossils are not uniformly distributed throughout the rock record. They're not random. They seem to occur in kind of certain intervals, certain periods of time where you get a lot of them. And we think that those periods of time where you have that rock that has lots of fossils, at least terrestrial vertebrates, is indicative of because megafans were depositing lots of sediment and were being preserved.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's sort of an interesting way to start to understand it too is we are kind of studying the present to better understand the past. So in Paraguay, the Pilcomayo River megafan is, I believe, the largest megafan river in the world.
Wow.
And the area where we conduct our research is pretty uninhabited by people. So the river is definitely, compared to places around here, it's relatively unimpacted by humans. So it's kind of an interesting model to study. Basically, we're studying future fossils or the remains of organisms, their bones, as they're being preserved right now in this river. And the goal is, and we're already starting to come to some interesting conclusions that we think help paleontologists better interpret what has been found in ancient environments that are probably similar to the river we're studying in Paraguay.
Yeah, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, so there's multiple aspects to the project because it's a big international research team. There's 17 of us this year in the field conducting the work. Erin and I are going from the Grand Rapids Public Museum. We have a whole bunch of colleagues from University of New Mexico that's going down. We have a colleague from University of Nebraska that's going this year, and then we have our Paraguayan colleagues that we're working with because you can only work by invitation. So it's very much a collaborative project. And as Erin said, we're basically we're studying the modern landscape along the river, looking for and recording where that bone occurs, and seeing if we go back next year, a couple years, do we still find the same bone? Is it in the same place? Is it preserved the same? Has it been buried? Has it weathered away? Stuff like that.
Really interesting. And then, like you were saying, kind of using what you guys are learning in that aspect to then see what may happen in the future as well, kind of gathering those details.
Absolutely. A kind of a nickname for the project, or the way we talk about it, is we're studying future fossils on fans. So really we think that the bones that we've been documenting, taking data on, visiting from year to year, we think they might potentially become future fossils, and it's giving us a lot of good information as we're watching these bones and organisms be preserved in the modern time. It tells us a lot about potentially how fossils, big vertebrates like dinosaurs, how those bones were preserved in the past.
And your role in this, obviously you're very much involved in the science of everything. Your role as well is to really then be bringing this back here to Grand Rapids and telling everyone here about it. You know, it's really cool work that you're doing, but of course we want to hear about it here in Michigan, and that's sort of a big part of your role in all of this.
Absolutely, that's a bit of what I've been thinking about for sure. So when I learned from Corey that the museum was involved with this, it sounded like such an outstanding thing that we wanted the community to know about. It's awesome the museum is involved in this. This will be the fourth year of the research, and it is planned to be a long-term research project. Very cool that we have our science curator contributing to the scientific community in this way. And I'm thrilled to be able to join. Last year I went as well. This year I'll be going. And I will be helping, record data and participate in the field research. But we've got a schedule of some interesting ways we hope to share this work with the community, kind of offer some, first of all, awareness of what's going on, but there's also a lot of like inspiration and modeling of STEM careers and opportunities that we're excited to share with learners of all ages.
And we were just talking about this a few moments ago, but we're really hoping too that we might be able to connect with you guys here at 13 on Your Side when you're there and you're in Paraguay, which will be really cool. Hopefully the Zoom connection works from so far away, but that would be something really cool to show what you guys are up to while you're there working on this. Is really fascinating.
Absolutely. So we kind of tried to have a couple cool ways that we're bringing people into this work. And so one great way is we have a web page on the museum now, a blog, grpm.org/Paraguay. And that's where we worked together to outline, we worked with our collaborators from the University of Mexico and the National University of Asuncion in Paraguay to try to explain in an understandable way what are the goals of the research, who's involved, where will we be, what are we doing each day when we're in the field, and what conclusions are we already starting to form based on this work.
I feel like that's such an awesome format to provide that to people, kind of minute by minute, in essence of what you guys are doing down there, because it's going to be, I'm sure, so complex in so many ways.
Yep, and it was awesome. Last year we were able to capture quite a lot of video, photographs, some time-lapse stuff, so you'll already see that on the webpage a little bit to give an idea of what the science looks like. We hope to change people's conceptions a little bit. We think, last year was the first time I have done field work, scientific field work like this, and it's fun, it's active, it's tiring. It's not black and white. There's problem solving that comes up when you're somewhere so far away doing research and you don't have quite the right piece of equipment you thought you needed, or something breaks. You can't, it's got to go on.
You're not at home, you have to figure it out. Really cool. Anything else just about the project that you'd like the community at home to know? I mean, this is just so neat that, folks from right here in Michigan, you guys are headed down there and then going to bring what you learned, all the way back home.
Anything we want to add? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that we're really excited to let people know in the community, first of all, that we have our webpage, which is a good base of, what the project entails and some of the scientific overview. We're really excited to do a takeover of the museum's Instagram while we're down there. So expect to see Dr. Redmond, myself. You'll get to meet some of our colleagues through that. But doing a more, the human side of it. What a day in the life is like.
Close up and seeing everything.
Yep, what the beautiful landscape is like, what wildlife we run into.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why we invited Erin to join the project. She has the science background, but she's much more focused on education than the rest of us, though a lot of us do have an education background, but not to the same extent. And so we can put Erin to work. So we have a good field hand, and she did awesome last year. She was a champ. But she can also break it down to, how do we make this accessible to the general public and interesting? Yeah. Which is kind of the role that she's playing with all the Instagram that she's going to be doing, and doing the museum blog to kind of give people that initial background and introduction to the project.
Yeah, really make sure that folks here at home can see what you guys are doing and understand, what it is you're doing down there. And how long are you guys going to be down there for?
Our trip, Corey's going down a little bit earlier because that would be a long story. But he has some samples that that you're not able to see. Yeah, he has. I'll let him talk about that in a moment. But he's a little earlier heading
Yeah.
down, and then the rest of us, the bulk of the research trip is coming in at just under 3 weeks.
Yeah, so still a long time to be down there working on this. Yeah, tell us a little bit about why you're going early.
Yeah, so one of my roles in the project, or my research emphasis, is looking at the really, really small vertebrate or bone material that we find. It's what we call, micromaterial. And so I have samples that I collected the previous 2 years when I was down there, but I haven't quite got the permitting worked out where I can bring them up here to study them. So I'm going down about a week early to spend some time in the lab, going through the material, trying to do some identification, some picking, stuff like that.
Very cool. All right, anything else that you want to mention? I think this was a great kind of synopsis of what you guys are going to be doing. Obviously going to be there for a while. We will be following along. Folks at home can follow along the webpage, the Instagram, your other social media, I'm sure. And then hopefully we can catch back up with you guys again, not here on the couch, but via Zoom down there, on the site. Would
absolutely.
be really
That'd be
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for
thank
having
you for
us.
having us.
This
Yeah,
is a
it's
really cool
fantastic.
project. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here.